Alrighty then. What's up, everybody? I know it's been a minute since we've been back. We had the little retreat down to South Padre,
Oh, we got to talk about South Padre
and
also.
that was a good time. There's really not much to say. We just got super drunk and had a good time.
Yeah, and at one point in time, Miles thought there were Russian spies amongst us.
Oh yeah, that's just yeah. Anyways, but yeah, Spaceman, you're here. Welcome, welcome. Poison Fantasy's back. How are you doing? Hopefully everything's going well with you.
Trying to
Uh,
get on.
Combo's here. What's up, bro? Both of you. Hope that both of you are doing well. We are. I am. I can speak for myself. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm doing well.
And there you go. We're both
Things
doing
are
fine.
things are going well. Everything's going well.
Heck yeah.
We're just here.
You're
I'm
here.
actually in quarantine right now
Ew, yikes.
because I was exposed to the old Rona. Yeah,
Exposed. Exposed.
exposed to the old Rona.
Darth, okay. I will do that if you send me a mention that's not expired. I don't check Discord all that much. You guys know that, and I didn't see that you had messaged me, so that meant that invite is not valid. So send me another one later.
Also, just real quick, I hate sports. I officially hate sports.
You know what? I don't hate sports, guys. Guys,
The
I don't hate
Razorbacks,
sports. I
they
don't
don't
hate
look
sports.
terrible. Okay, we don't have to do all this now. Well, this is okay. Chat, tell him this is excessive.
Let's go, baby!
We don't need all this suey
Yes!
pig. This is the last thing we need.
We
We
finally
don't
won a game after 2 long, pitiful seasons with Coach Chad Morris as our head coach. We finally won a game, and it was glorious.
hey, you know what? I will never I know you can't hear me right now, Darth, but I want to show everybody my shirt. I will never give up my love for the Horns, even though we look like hot garbage against TCU on Saturday and we lost. It was inevitable. We were going to lose at some point in time this season. It happens. It always happens. And it always happens that the Horns lose on the same weekend that the Cardinals get eliminated from the playoffs. It's okay, stop. That's enough. That's enough. When you return to the top 10, give me a shout. All right,
Okay.
that's enough.
We'll see how the rest of the season plays out.
We sure will.
Yesterday,
We sure will.
I spent 5 hours of my day totally revamping my Discord. Dang, that's a big time commitment to that space, man. Oh,
Ed Nuts is here.
let him be. Thank you, Ed Nuts, for encouraging my behavior and letting me celebrate in my win. Thank you. Appreciate you.
I don't care.
Hope you're doing well.
I love you, Ed Nuts, but I'm not gonna let him be.
I am. I'm gonna be
It's not gonna
super
happen.
stoked about it because it's awesome. We already hear your effing tweets. True. If you guys were at all active on Twitter during that game on Saturday, I was popping off on Twitter. It was crazy. Get affiliates so me and Poison can sell and donate biddies. Yeah, we're working on it ever so slowly. We just need 50 followers. That's it.
50 followers. Tell your
We're
friends.
at like 20 some odd. So if you guys want us to get there, tell your friends, tell your family. Spread the word.
Just create fake Twitch accounts and just go follow us.
I mean, there's also
know?
that as well.
Who cares? Oh, there's Reagan. Hi, Reagan.
Hi, Reagan.
Can you say hi?
There she is.
Your GameStop.
Adorable.
No, but I just want.
Spaceman with the host, thank you.
Another game.
Okay, well after I'm done with this, I'll download another game. Can you go help your mom?
What's she doing?
She's in the other room. Can you go help her? Thank you.
Amazing.
We're painting a room in my house right now because we're in quarantine and we are bored stiff.
Well, it is what
So-
it is.
Luckily, Sherwin-Williams has online order and pickup,
Nice.
so Reagan got to pick the color of the room, and it's, guess what, pink.
No, you don't say.
Yeah, I know. Poor little. This is my whiskey of the week, by the way. Redemption.
Redemption bourbon.
Straight bourbon, baby.
Very nice.
Pre-prohibition bourbon.
Ed Nuts says, look at Alex being a dad. I know.
I know.
Such a good dad.
I try.
Well, speaking of quarantine and the Rona, our oh so illustrious president
Oh boy.
and his non-mask wearing behaviors finally caught up to him. and he is, or has, I should say, been stricken with the Rona.
Yeah, he's also breaking quarantine and going back to the Oval Office.
Yeah, that's true. He also spent 3 days in Walter Reed and was like, "I feel great," and then went back to the Oval Office. So now everybody around him there is getting.
And, and by the way, don't be afraid of it. It's easy. It's easy to
Yeah, it's
kick.
easy. Don't be
I
afraid
mean,
of the
yeah.
of Corona because it's easy and it doesn't. It's fine. So tell that to the 210,000 people that have died from it.
Yeah.
So that's real good. Super sensitive of you, Mr. President. Great freaking job.
Top 10 leadership skills.
Just amazing.
Now you guys get a free show with the rubber band and Reagan.
I told my friend about it, and the Pizzagate turned her off when I mentioned it. She's Jewish. Well, it is what it is.
Well,
We don't talk about it. She can come. She can still come. Like we don't talk about Pizzagate all the time.
No, and a lot of what is involved in Pizzagate is like very far. It's just like when you talk about aliens, right? Before like there was real proof and the Pentagon came out and said we've recovered vehicles that are not of this world. Everybody's like, "Oh, here we go with the aliens," because there's a lot of nuts out there. Like
Yeah.
this conspiracy theory stuff draws in a lot of nutcases, and there's a lot of crazy theories out there. That said, we look at the facts and we look at solely what is provable and what can be proven and connecting dots. That's all we do.
Yep. Well, Spaceman, you tell her she can go to the YouTube. I posted a video the other day. I uploaded a new episode, so tell her that she can go scrub through those and see if she likes it, and then if she wants, she can tune into the live shows, and she can just avoid the ones where we talk about Pizzagate if it makes her that uncomfortable.
Well, and I have felt a lot better, and I don't even love the term Pizzagate. Like, that's what people refer to it. But child pedophilia and child trafficking is a real problem.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I'm convinced that they've got old Ghislaine just tied up
And they're
and just like,
beating names out of her.
just give me more. And it's not, I don't think it's a coincidence that now after she's been obtained that all of these child trafficking raids are happening and they're finding kids.
No, not at all. She's out there just exposing everything.
They're finding kids by the dozens in trailers in Georgia and Oklahoma.
Georgia, Oklahoma, I think Indiana, like
it's a
all
real
over
thing.
the place.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not here to say that like
What's your news combo, and also what do you mean by under 2 months left? Hopefully. So anyway, go on. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm not here to say that, everybody, like every celebrity is tied into the Illuminati and that ties back to Pizzagate. Like that's when you get into the wonky, like, I don't know
there's
about
some
all
other
that,
things
man.
that tie into that. I saw today on Jerry News on Instagram. I like that. It gives me little news blips about
I know.
things.
I've started following them too. They posted their first ad the other day, though. That kind of bummed me out a little bit. But anyway.
Facebook and Instagram are now banning any QAnon posts. And if you don't know what that is, QAnon is basically like it's this giant conspiracy theory that says Jerry News gave the short synopsis of it. It's like that Trump is fighting against the deep state, and that like it's a whole ring of Hollywood elites and other politicians that are trying to run things. And apparently the giant conspiracy with that is that Trump is like fighting against it or something along those lines. So that's interesting.
Yeah, well, dude, censorship is just such a touchy topic.
It's so weird.
You know what I mean?
What's blue?
That is a Cookie Monster donut that we got after we got tested for the Rona because she handled it so well, getting a Q-tip shoved up her nose.
What a trooper! I thought that was like a frosting sandwich for a second. That's what it looked like.
No, we got a dozen of them, and she's just
going to town.
She's just been going to town on them, like
fair enough.
All quarantine.
Yeah, whatever. Justified how you
have a donut.
Right. Netflix. Okay, so this is Combo's good news. Netflix is getting charged for cuties. Nice.
What's Cuties again?
Cuties is a movie that some French lady made, and it's about these they're like 7, 8 year old girls that are like, I think one of them moves to a new school or something, and they basically start like this dance troupe, but it's like I don't want to say that it's dances that should be. It's not good. They're not good dances. All right. It's very sexualized. Like
Like
Netflix.
provocative
Yes,
dances?
extremely. And so it's basically like 7 and 8 year olds twerking and doing that kind of shit.
Oh,
And
it's for real. Is it nonfiction or fiction?
it's fiction.
Okay.
And Netflix showed the trailer, and the trailer like obviously focused on sexualizing these 7 and 8 year old girls, and there's a bunch of other stuff came out about it. Like the producers literally sat through like 8 hours a day of like watching little girls like dance like this so they could get the
Yikes.
casting right, and it's uncomfortable. I think I'm so thankful that I haven't watched the trailer because I refuse. I've seen a couple little blurbs about it like here and there, and it's very uncomfortable. I don't like it one bit. The director or the producer of the movie, or the writer, whoever came up with the idea for the movie, is trying to justify it as like some sort of like coming of age, like making friends in a new place type story, and was like bashing Netflix that Netflix had focused on the dancing part of it and sexualized the trailer. And I'm like, bro, you don't write a movie like this with preteens in this situation, and then try and justify it like you did. Like,
Yeah.
no. So,
Not
and
not
the uproar about it has been just astronomical. Like, everybody is pissed, and rightfully so. So thank God.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad. Like, combo tried to get me. Mission failed / combo tried to get me. He's like, dude, you need to go watch the trailer for Cuties, and I was like, I'm good, thanks, because I think I'd heard something about it before he mentioned it, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm good off that. I don't need to. I'm not gonna watch that. That's gonna make me wildly uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see. I don't know if it's been pulled off Netflix yet, but at least somebody's getting something for it, because it's just, and now Netflix issued one of those like Twitter apologies. I was like, we're so sorry that the trailer that we showed for this was focused solely on like the dancing and like just they were like something along the lines of like the apparent sexualization of preteens, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I actually saw one of my friends seeing Poison Fantasy say I canceled my Netflix subscription for the first time in years. Made me recall someone on Facebook, one of my uberly Christian conservative friends, on a very long post about how Netflix posts or supports satanic ideologies or something like that. But I think it was based around this whole cuties thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's insane. And that said, it was sad as how studios have their preteens and young girls dance. Yeah, it's really, I don't like it at all. And the one I worked for and danced with had 5 year olds being a little over sexualized, even for my taste. Yeah, it's weird. Like that type of dance stuff. Like I'm like, should like kids shouldn't just not be allowed like exposed to that like at all. Like if you want to go and do like a dance thing, and like you want your kid to like competitively dance or whatever when they're that young, just have them out there like running around on tippy toes doing like twirls to like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something. Like
yeah,
they don't need to be out there like doing overly provocative dances to WAP at 5 years old.
definitely not.
Like
1,000%
and
not.
honestly, even like I would say even high school age, like I like still no. Like I mean, you can like there's plenty of, because you've seen it all over like America's Got Talent and stuff. There's plenty of girls that are in that age group, like high school, that go do dance, but dance in a more like, it's like an expressive way, and it's not an overly sexualized way. Because even then, they're still minors, and it's still weird to have them out there, even in their group setting.
It's very weird.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's a weird
Also, I don't even know why
situation.
we need to, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. Space Dinosaurs, my Netflix releasing this that it gives other young girls relative to their age to do things like this, which is, yeah, that's not good either.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my dance scholarship. The only one we did for certain gigs because I looked as an adult, even, but I was 17. Yikes. Yeah, that whole industry's just super scummy and weird, and it gives me bad vibes.
Yeah.
It's just like, and the judges are never women. They're always these weird old dudes.
How would you, as a male,
Like, you don't have a
come
daughter. Like, do you have a
into
daughter? Like, if you have a daughter, how do you just sit there and just like, be like, yep, I'm judging this dance? Like, ugh.
I don't know. It's weird, man. I don't get it. I don't understand the whole dance scene. I worked next to a dance facility for a long time, and I'd see these girls coming in and out, like very young girls, like all made up and like in leotards and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, I don't know. This feels kind of weird.
Drop the blinds on that one, no thank you.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. Doesn't sit right. It's just super, super, super weird.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure Ed Nuts. We need to have Ed Nuts on one of
we
these
need to have Ed Nuts
episodes. She's been a day one.
For sure.
Day one. She could tell the John Tucker story also. The time that Twitter came after me for being the John Tucker of Omaha.
Well.
Good times.
Chat's question of the day.
Good times.
How has life been going for both of you? Were you not here 10 minutes ago? I mean, life's been going good.
I think that one would mainly go more towards you, Darth, because of recent kind of hintings at how life has been treating you.
Life is kicking me less in the balls. Things are getting better slowly but surely. Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps.
But yes,
and then
things are going a lot better.
The next question is, do you actually believe that Trump is taking down the deep state, though?
I have not done enough research into what the deep state fully entails and what it is and yada yada yada. I kind of just think he's a dumbass.
I'll answer that question because I'm more from. I've gone down so many dang Reddit rabbit holes and done a fair amount of reading on the deep state, and how I will answer that question is I think that there's hints of truth within conspiracy theories such as these, going back to the whole idea that anytime you get into a conspiracy theory like this, you're going to see a lot of crap and a lot of crazies.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be hints of the truth. So I do think that a lot of our politicians are so deep in the pockets of lobbyists and major corporations that there is a lot of corruption that goes on at that level that we never see. And I want to think, I don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows, unless you're him and his close affiliates. Yeah. I want to think he's trying to rid our system of such corruption, but I know how much that guy loves money.
Yeah.
So it makes me skeptical, but at the same time, he's already got so much money that he's made on his own that I do think
he's not even taking his presidential salary, is he? I think he I saw something that I think he said he's refusing it, or it's going somewhere else. I don't know.
And the long and short of it is, yeah, he does, but it's more of a tax write-off. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Whatever.
And that's a whole nother conversation. You get to the financials of politics, because I want to know how senators are millionaires and Congress people are millionaires when their salary is supposedly $230,000 a year or something.
Well, as soon as Hillary Clinton got out of her presidency, she was getting paid $250,000 an event to speak at these private events.
Same
it's
with, Obama did the same thing. I'm not bashing.
Yeah.
I'm not bashing them for that, because
no,
that's just them being smart and they have knowledge, or that they want to pass on, and people like book them, and if that's what they want to pay them, and that's what they want to pay them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. I Ednut says life moved you
you
to me. I don't know what that means
oh,
necessarily.
she's saying like life quit kicking me in the nuts and is now over there kicking her,
Oh.
right in her Ed nuts.
And I was gonna text Ednuts the other day. Maybe she can give me an update on this. But both of her parents got COVID.
Oh no.
And I was gonna text her the other day and see how they were doing, but I saw on one of her snaps, I'm pretty sure her mom was sitting in the background or something, so I figured that they're doing all right. Anyway,
well, hopefully.
To answer in the long and short of it, I think he's trying to do things to make the country better, and he is insanely undiplomatic about it, and he is a complete idiot and a complete asshole. But I don't think he's tied into all of that lobbyist money and major pharma money.
Yeah.
And
I
mean, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know.
I could see like the good intentions that he has and that he wants to do. But it's just nobody in his camp has just looked at him once and been like, or if they have, he's just totally said, "No, I'm just gonna do it my way." But he just so just untactful about it, and he just. It's like you've got good intentions, but it's how you deliver it, and you're delivering it in just the worst way possible. So now it comes across as aggressive, and nobody wants. Like everybody's like,
Well, very early on, they tried to take his Twitter from him. Mm-hmm. Like his staff was like, "All right, no more tweeting," and he was basically like middle fingers up, like, "I'm gonna keep tweeting. There's nothing you can do to stop me." And they were like, "I guess he's right because he'll just fire us if we don't do what he says." So.
So before I had a phone call, missed everything. Alex said you.
Oh, I was just gonna.
Oh shoot!
A tech covering from the old COVID.
Oh, you kind of froze right there. Basically, he wanted to text you and check in on your parents and how y'all are doing with the old Rona. Did you just smack them? Yeah. So that's a whole disaster. With everything that he's wanting to do and whether or not he's fighting the deep state. You know what else was a disaster? The debate.
Oh, God.
The debate was a disaster. And honestly, so I'm going to be truthful. I forgot that it was even on that night. So I didn't pull it up and I didn't watch it. And I'm almost thankful that I didn't sit through what was apparently one of the most painful debates to ever happen, because I've seen a couple clips here and there, and it just looked like a complete shit show. It was just like the funniest thing I saw. I don't know if you guys watch Family Guy, but the one episode where I don't know why this, but Herbert the pervert ends up fighting that old Nazi, and they're just like. Like these two old dudes fighting is basically what it was like watching that thing. Apparently it was just like horrible. The mediator couldn't rein it in. Everybody was just talking over everybody, and it was just like it was bad. So
poor Chris Wallace, dude. I watched the whole thing. In fact, my girlfriend texted me and said, "Can we get drunk and watch the debate tonight? Because I have a feeling I'm going to need a lot of drinks to get through this." And I was like, I've never loved you more than right now. And this text message, because yes, I would love to get drunk and watch the debate tonight. And it was everything that you would have expected. Like my brother and I were texting each other a lot throughout it because we have very similar political views. And everybody was like up in arms, like, "I can't believe this. I can't believe it." It's like, what did you expect out of this? I mean, the one shining star of the entire thing was that the searches for JoJo Jurgensen were through the roof on Google.
Yeah, I was gonna
during
say
the debate.
Because like during the debate and afterward, and I saw something like after, or I think Darian told me something that like after the debate, her numbers skyrocketed.
Oh yeah,
which is amazing.
Absolutely,
it was good.
There was a Barstool podcast that just went out and saw her and interviewed her and saw her tour bus and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, okay, there's like, some major national media outlets, however you feel about Barstool. I love it.
Yeah.
But they interviewed her, and I thought it was actually good for her because a lot of people are starting to realize. I saw so many Facebook and Twitter, like all over social media. Like, I can't believe these are the only two we have to choose from. I can't believe.
Which I
And
saw that, and then I saw your post, which you put out, and then that's what triggered me to do mine on Twitter. And I already voted. I've already voted and sent my ballot back in because
oh,
I'm on the absentee ballot or voting thing because military spouse up in New Jersey. So we got ours sent to us the other day, and thankfully we could just email ours back. Now the only downside with that is the lady that I emailed it back to literally could just look at my entire ballot and be like, so there was no privacy on that aspect of it, but I don't really care. I guess I don't. It's not like I didn't write my name on it, so the only person that knows whose ballot it is the person I emailed it to. So I'm not super worried about that. But for you guys' information, at least in Missouri, and I really hope that it's the same for most of the other 50 states. You have the two main. I don't want to say main. There's Biden and Trump on the top of the ballot, and then after that, at least for Missouri, and like I said, I hope this is the same for other states. There's three other options. You got Joe Jurgensen, and freaking. Let me look. I actually have it right here, the print-off version that I didn't do because I forgot ballots are super long, and 8x12 paper doesn't fit a ballot. Yeah, so you got Joe Jurgensen, and her vice presidential nominee or person is Jeremy, and in parentheses, Spike Cohen. So we're going to have
let's go Spike.
President JoJo and Vice President Spike. Dope.
Here for it.
And then, so that's the Libertarian candidates. The Green Party candidate is Howie Hawkins, excuse me, and his vice presidential candidate is Angela Nicole Walker. And then I'm going to have to look this up because I do not know what CST as a party is. CST.
CST?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is either. Central...
It's the Constitution Party.
Oh, Central Standard Time.
Yeah, it's the Central Standard Time Party. No, it's the Constitution Party, formerly the U.S. Taxpayers Party until 1999. It's a political party in the United States that promotes a right to far-right view of the principles and intents of the United States Constitution. Okay, so they're uber conservatives. Yeah, so you've got three other options, and so but Alex and I both have said, you've got other options other than the big two. I'll word it like that. So take 5 to 10 minutes of your time. We had a short blurb on what Joe Jorgensen's political platform was a couple of podcasts ago, and that should be on YouTube. So go watch that, and that's a quick look at where her political platform is, and then look up the other two, Howie Hawkins and Don Blankenship, as the other two candidates or nominees, I guess. Either way you want to word that, and just do a quick look up at what their platform is and what they stand for, and then like we both said, vote based on who lines up best with what your political ideals are and your your ethics, like your ideologies, like all of those things. And then afterwards, go on about your day. And afterwards, we can still be friends because we can talk about it if you want to talk about it. Like, people always say you keep your who you vote for private or whatever, but that's just because people are scared now because they don't want to have a civil conversation about who you voted for and why.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not gonna judge you for who you voted for because you voted for that person, because for you that person lined up mostly with what you believe in and what your ethics are, your morals are, and your political ideations are. And then that's fine, and we can have a civil discussion about why you chose that person and why I chose the person I chose, and go from there.
Well, after the Barstool guys interviewed JoJo, they quickly summed it up in the form of she basically wants limited government. So the only thing that goes through the government is fire, police, and
Health.
law enforcement. And
You, just you said fire, police, and then law enforcement. So fire, police, and ambulance.
oh no,
Health.
not law. The courts, the
Oh, the
court
courts.
system.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant law enforcement as in the court system. Like
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
enforcing like
I get what you're saying.
not jurisdictions, judges
Judicials.
after you're arrested going into the court
The
system.
judicial system.
Yes. And I think healthcare is in that as well. Well, no, it's a free market healthcare system.
Yeah. I was going health more along like emergency responding health, like ambulances and stuff.
Yeah, correct. Healthcare and everything else would be in a free market system.
Yeah,
so
a true free market system.
yeah, if Ben says I'll cost you $50 a month and give you dental, vision, whatever, and I say, well, I'll charge you $45 a month and give you all of those same things, you're obviously going to come to me instead of Ben because I have a better, more affordable
it's
price.
Basically going to be the reverse of what we have now, like the literal reverse. Where now it's the highest bidder wins, and that supposedly is the best medicine. Whereas in Joe Jurgensen's one, like Alex said, it's the opposite, where it will all be basically be the same healthcare, but someone will be able to provide it for a cheaper cost than somebody else.
Well, they just had that guy, I think it was, gosh, I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but I'm just thinking about it. I think it was like a diabetes pill that they brought him before the Supreme Court. And there's like a viral clip, like a lady with a whiteboard, and she's like drawing out like
that,
the
but I didn't watch
price increase of the drug. And it's basically, it's a business model, right? So the more that they can charge for the drug, the more the company is going to make. Therefore, there's bonuses injected with that, and everybody within the company is going to make more because the company is making more. So the drug didn't get better. It didn't have a better success rate of treating its patients, but the price of the pill went up. So everybody within the company got rewarded. So it's basically, how much can we charge for this drug before we start making it completely unaffordable for the patient, which is completely backwards. It should be, okay, you sell this drug, I sell this drug, that guy sells this drug. How can we find a way to offer a better, more affordable price for this drug, and therefore making it better for the consumer? But that's not the way that it is right now.
Right.
It's completely backwards. It's how much can we charge for this and get away with it?
Yeah.
And that's not what capitalism was based on. That's not a free market system like we're being told. It's
become a money grubbing system.
It's completely crazy.
Right.
Totally crazy.
Totally crazy. But anyway, yeah, so we kind of got off. I don't know really if
we got way off. We always get way off topic.
It's just, we start on one thing and then we just start chasing rabbits, and it is what it is. You guys can live with it.
Is Poison leaving us too?
No. Combo's leaving.
Gotcha. Anyway.
But yeah, no, basically, so that debate was a whole thing. When has the vice presidential debate happened yet?
No, it is happening. I was actually just looking at that.
Watch it be right now in the middle of our podcast.
It might be. No.
When is it?
I can't find the date. The 90-minute event begins 9 p.m. Eastern time. When is it? Is it today? Is it right now?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
I think you're right. I think it does start at it might start in like 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's October 7th, 9 p.m. to 10:30 p.m.
Yeah,
sure. So that's Eastern time, though, so it starts in an hour.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it starts, yeah, we'll be done by then. I'm definitely going to be watching that because I got to see who's around me. Fuck Kamala Harris, dude. Fuck that. I hate her so much,
I don't
dude.
like her
and that's not even talking about political parties. If she was a Republican, I would hate her just as much.
Because of what she did while she was in California in power.
How do you keep people on death row knowing that you have the evidence to overturn the conviction and just solely from a position of not wanting to look bad and not wanting to lose a case, withhold that evidence and keep those people on death row for years,
Yeah, it's
multiple years,
so jacked up.
and just being like, don't want to lose.
Oh, you
don't
know,
wanna
but it's
lose.
okay though because she said she was sorry.
Oh, real sorry. Just like about that crime bill that put a bunch of single mothers in Chicago in jail. Or not the crime bill, the truancy bill, excuse me.
Yeah,
She's real sorry about that too. And no, you're not.
stupid.
No, you're not. You're not sorry.
No,
You
she's
wanted
not.
you wanted the position of power and you didn't want to lose. It was a game to you. You were playing a game with people's lives and their livelihood that they will never get back. They will never get those years of their life back. They will never get that what's the word that I'm looking for? That connotation with their name
Yeah, it's always going to
of
be
being a
like,
murderer. It will always be, you ruin people's lives playing a game that you didn't want to lose.
Yeah.
And now you're sorry?
Nah, you don't get to be sorry, bro.
No, dude. People talk about it all the time. Like, Trump's in a position of power and he should be held to a higher standard, which I completely agree
Yeah,
with.
for sure.
But if you're going to be in that position of power and you're going to blatantly withhold evidence that can get people off of death row because you want to win a game,
Nah, fam.
miss me on that, dude. I don't want that person anywhere near running this country. Nowhere near.
It's gonna be interesting to see, what she has to say tonight. And Mike Pence isn't the most eloquent.
He's gonna be like watching paint dry.
Yeah, that dude is super dull.
Which I watched a bunch of paint dry today. Let me tell you, not fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Huh. Yeah, that's gonna be a debacle as well. So we'll see how that goes. I probably will not watch that tonight. I should, but I'll probably get the cliff notes and the highlights, like watching sports. Just because.
Yeah, of course you will.
Well,
you freaking sheeple.
Yeah, true. But also, I'll be in bed by 9:30 because I'm an old man. So.
Yeah, well, trust me, living with a 4-year-old lately, bedtime is a hard 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm out.
So, anyway.
Last night the girlfriend went to sleep at 9:30 and I was finishing up my show and I was like, maybe I'll come up and play some games, play on the Xbox a little bit. And I got up here and I'm like, I can't keep my eyes open. There's no way I can play some games right now. I am tired.
Right. If Joe wins, they're going to see Biden unfit or too off his rocker to appoint Kamala as president. Please.
That's probably the end game.
Happen. It would literally be like a year and a half to 2 years in, and they'd be like, "Yo, this dude is literally stroking."
Oh, probably not even that long.
Like 6 months in, they're gonna be like, "Okay, Joe, you've had about 17 strokes, right now, in this 6 month period. You can't."
There was a point in the debate because I was watching it live. And he was standing up at his podium, right? Pretend the podium's here and I'm way up here, whatever. Trump was talking and I was watching him I was watching both of them pretty intently just to see, their mannerisms and blah, blah, blah. And he looked down from his podium and it was probably only 10 seconds. It felt like 4 minutes, but he looks down and then he looks back up. And he's looking around and then he finds Trump again. And I'm like, does that guy know where he is? And that's a legit, I'm not trying to poke fun at the guy at all. That was literally
shut the lights off, walked out of his own head, and then was like, oh wait, I'm still doing something. Came back and flipped the lights back on.
And it was about an hour in. My brother and I talked about this a lot. I don't know what they gave him, if he was on a 5-hour energy or caffeine pills or whatever.
But he crashed.
You can see a distinct difference in his attentiveness and in his speech and everything about an hour in. It was almost like whatever they gave him about an hour in wore off and he started getting spacier than shit, dude. He started. And I don't want the guy to be. I wish he could come up to the debate stage and have all of the same arguments as an Andrew Yang or a Tulsi Gabbard or any of those, and I would vote for the guy.
Yeah,
I have no problem voting for a Democrat, but I was watching him thinking that it's like the lights are on, but nobody's home, man.
Yeah.
Like, and then that's when Trump really started getting like throwing some jabs, and even when he was when Trump was like talking about his son, it was like,
Ed Nuts, I got it. I knew what you were saying. That's why I laughed. She said that the Coke they gave Biden wore off about an hour in.
well,
They
would've
said, "Here,
worn
Joe,
off-
run this line real fast." And then about an hour in, he was like, "Oh, Jesus."
maybe a little 10 Miggy Adderall or something like that.
Something,
That
man,
probably
that's
would have
crazy.
been.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know.
Need that
Biden's
extended
so,
release next time.
Biden's so, like, he's just such an old grandpa dude. Like, it's like the stress of being president, like, is going to just jack him up royally. You think he's bad now. It's gonna get worse. Like, there's no way. Like, I truly do not believe he is all there right now. Like, he's old and things are starting to slip, and I'm not trying to like dog on the dude. I'm just looking at it like straight facts. Like, the man is old, and all through his campaign trail, there's been multiple instances where he's just not, like, he's saying phrases and things, and he's just not there. Like, nothing makes sense. Spaceman saying Biden
He's
was
politically
caught
woke as fuck.
trying to hide a black wire, and sometimes when his head was down, he was seen repeating this from an audio source according to my brother. He's politically woke as fuck. Well, so you think they got
That's
somebody?
the only way. That's the only way
Somebody
he's
in
woke.
his ear telling him what to say because he can't keep his own brain together.
Well, no, they're reading off of, like, you could
teleprompters and
tell you could tell when Trump brought up his son, he was just waiting, like, with that in his back pocket, like, oh, this is like, now I bring it out, like, oh, and then he said that his son wasn't they both lied. I'm not sticking up
Yeah.
for Trump by any stretch of the imagination, because, okay, let me lead with this before I tackle the whole Biden son thing. Trump's plan to plant 1 billion trees.
Who does he think he is, Mr. Beast?
Where did that come from? Like, nobody's ever heard of that ever.
Yeah, it's
and
like
he's
out of
just like,
nowhere.
I've got a plan. I'm gonna try to plant 1 billion trees. We need to sweep the forest, and that'll stop the wildfires. So we need to get some maids to the forest and sweep up those wildfires.
I forgot
and,
that he said that.
And we're gonna plant 1 billion trees. Like, what? Huh?
You're just gonna
What
take
did-
a
where
whole
did-
team and just sweep up all of the leaves on the forest floor, bro. Do you know how important those leaves are to the ecosystem?
1 billion trees? Where? Where do we have room for 1 billion? Do you realize how many 1 billion is?
That's a lot of
That's
trees.
A lot of trees.
Like, Mr. Beast recently, for those of you that know, he's a
What?
big YouTube dude, but he just planted 20 million trees somewhere. Like, everybody, like, people would donate like $1 or whatever to his, like, the charity thing that he had up, and for every dollar that was donated, he would plant a tree. He planted like 20 million trees. That was a lot of trees.
That's awesome.
And that's
But
super great. But 1 billion?
Billion?
With a
80
B?
million more
B?
trees?
B?
So that's
No,
one
what'd you say?
fourth.
80 million more trees? That's way more than 80 million more trees, bro.
Oh, my math is completely off. Sorry.
It
I've
is
been drinking.
980 million more trees.
Oh, that's close. I'm in the neighborhood. That's a lot of trees, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't
dude, that's
even
a lot
fathom
of
how
trees.
many
Where you
trees that
gonna
is.
put 'em?
That's over my stupid comprehension to even comprehend how many trees that legitimately
Like,
is.
I could not
20 million trees to me sounds like a lot of trees.
That's a lot
like,
of damn
oh,
trees.
another
I'm
80
trying to figure
million.
out where
We're
the
there,
hell-
right? I mean,
I would try to figure out where the hell you're gonna put 1 billion trees. Like, where?
we're gonna plant them on the ice caps.
We'll
We're
stop
gonna
the
plant 'em
ice
on
caps eroding.
It's
with
gonna help
trees.
the polar bears and the fish.
Okay, why don't
the
you
salmon.
take those
the salmon.
trees and take them down to the Amazon and replace all the trees that got friggin' strip mined out of there to make room for industrialization?
It's crazy, dude.
Like, insane. Ed Nutt says he's gonna plant those trees with all the people he killed with COVID. Yikes.
Well, even that's only like 250,000 or something, or 200,000. I don't even know. how many
Hi,
it
Brendan.
is now.
He said they're gonna plant the trees on the moon.
Oh, there's Brendan. Hi, Brendan.
Plant them trees
I
on the
hope
moon.
he dies. Okay, and that's.
That's a little.
I understand
I
how
understand
you
that
feel,
you've been drinking too, but also, like,
but you
pump the
can't. You can't hope for something like that. I'm sorry. I don't like the guy either. Oh, there's Hugo too.
probably got like 5 trees to be really in need. I did not miss your Spider-Man comments, Spaceman. I was holding them till the end.
Well, I can't comment on that because I don't watch
I'll hold.
superhero
I'm gonna
movies.
hold those comments till the end, when it's a little bit more applicable, I guess. But yeah. So basically, what we're gonna say is the debate was a disaster. You've got more options than just those two. Do your research. I read off. Um, I read off the other three. If you guys need me to, again, I can put them in like the description of the YouTube video when it goes up. So you guys can go look at them. I might even see about linking their um, campaign pages. That way, you guys can go do that. But
And nuts, are your parents really dying?
my parents are literally dying. LOL. I don't care. Oh my god. I'm gonna say that you do care. I would hope you care at least a little bit. He downplayed this shit so bad. Yeah, I know he did because. Anyway, I don't want to get into it.
I know that's a lot to get into, but I saw so many tweets that were like, "I hope he dies a slow death" and things like that. I'm like, he's a human being. I mean, I understand that he's a rotten human
Yeah, like,
being,
you don't like him,
but
but
our vulnerability as a nation, they literally did the D-Day tests where they flew the interceptor jets or planes, whatever they call that, around the coast the day that he got COVID because they're like, this is a huge national security threat. And I don't want anybody to die. I don't
yeah,
want Ed and Ed's parents to die, especially. I don't want Trump to die. I don't want John and Mary to die. I don't want Biden to die. I hate Kamala Harris. I don't want Kamala Harris to
yeah.
die.
I would
That's not
strongly
what I want
dislike some
at all.
people,
I
but I
mean,
don't want
that's
people to die.
I don't want any loss of human life. That's not what I'm about.
Right.
Um,
Okay, I get where you're coming from, Ednas. You don't care if he dies
I
because your
don't.
parents are dying because of it. I just like that's the thing with me is like I can't.
We
I don't know. Can you fully tack and blame him for all those people that died? I feel like
maybe
there's probably
maybe
some blame to go over there,
maybe we
but
should
not all of it.
maybe we should table this and then really officially get Ed Nuts on
Yeah,
the next podcast
yeah.
so we can really,
Let's do
because
that.
I don't think you can place sole responsibility and blame on President Trump for anyone that's died from COVID. I'm not saying that he hasn't played a factor into it.
Right.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I don't think you can. And I love. She knows this. I've still got Ed Nuts' card on my fridge from when she sent me cupcakes for my birthday, because that's how great of a person she is,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I love her to death, and she's one of my best friends. Um, I, and I don't want to disagree with her in a position where she can't
Defend yourself
rebut
better. Yeah.
in live time
Yeah.
because I respect her and I don't want that to happen.
Let's do that then. We'll
Yeah,
table this for next time. Ed Nuts, get a hold of Alex or myself,
yeah.
either one,
She can
on
text me and
Twitter or
then
text Alex and let us know what you're looking like for next week or Sunday or something, and
we'll figure it
we'll
out.
figure it out.
We'll get her on the next podcast. She'll be the next guest for the next
Yeah,
podcast.
so, sounds good.
We just got to work in between her and her times being the mother.
Yeah, sure. Whatever whatever it works out.
We'll figure it out. Maybe
We'll
Sunday
figure
or
it out.
something. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Anyway,
Anyway, last thing I want to talk about, I guess tonight for now. Before we left for South Padre, I was getting my hair cut. And whilst I was getting my hair cut, they had the news on, and I kind of sucks that it was CNN, but beggars can't be choosers in that situation. And on CNN, while I was getting my hair cut, the Breonna Taylor verdict was, I guess it had just come out what it was. And so then there were, protests in Kentucky because of it. And I know most of you have probably seen this already. But for those of you that live under a rock, in the verdict, they pulled only one of the officers responsible into the courtroom and charged him. The detective and the sergeant that were basically in charge of that whole thing were nowhere to be. Like, they didn't get arraigned or anything. And then all that the one officer got charged with was 3 counts of wanton endangerment. And it was, and so that's basically
I'm gonna say what the chat is asking themselves already. What the hell is wanton endangerment?
right. So I was actually about to get into that. So
I know you were, but I just
one,
felt like I had to
I
interject
got
that.
you, I got you. So wanton endangerment is like, so what he did is like he went in there and they charged him for firing his weapon off and shooting through the walls, I guess, into the other apartments around Breonna Taylor's apartment. And it's like, so, and I saw something that I actually kind of agreed with. It was like, wow, so the judicial system there was more concerned about Breonna Taylor's neighbor's walls than her loss of life herself. Because that's all that dude got charged with was 3 counts of wanton endangerment, which is just like him. Basically, they're just charging him with negligently firing his sidearm, and so
So
like that.
did
That's it.
he make it? Did he want to make it look like it was a shootout,
I,
or
I don't know.
why would he be shooting into the walls?
Because what they did is they just straight up like they just busted up in there.
Well, it was a
And,
raid,
yeah, it
yeah.
was a raid, and then I don't know. I'd have to like really look into it, but shots were fired, and Breonna Taylor got caught in that and died, but they didn't.
Well, but nobody was shooting back at them.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, from what I understand in that situation, nobody shot back at them. I think what it was is she like woke up and was like, "Who's in my house?" Basically,
Yeah.
and might have reached for something, or at least appeared to reach for something, and they were like, "Oh, she's reaching for something." Bow, 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 bow. And and I think they were expecting to find her boyfriend there, and I don't think he was there that night,
No, no,
or
his
he
boy
was.
from what? Oh, he was there
I
that
can't
night?
remember if he was or he wasn't.
I don't
Like,
think he was
I
there
don't. I'm pretty
because
sure he wasn't. Let me
you
look
might
it
want
up.
to do a little quick research on this because what I understand is they did a no-knock warrant, which I had friends get raided.
Hmm.
Well, not friends. Thank God, one of my friends moved out of a house that got raided about a week before it got raided because I literally left his house and people were coming in and out, and it was getting uncomfortable for even me because I was just there hanging out and they were selling weed, and I left his house because I felt uncomfortable. I'm like, man, people are coming in and out. Like this is like a bakery, you know? And when I left his house, there was a sheriff sitting in like a little cul-de-sac right by his house. And I texted him right then. I was like, I'm not coming back. You need to get out of here. This is not a good situation. You're definitely being watched, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on. And he moved out, and about a week later his buddy was feeding his dogs and he saw all these like laser pointers on the wall, and he was like, what the hell is that? And then next thing you know, boom, all the windows get blasted out and they're ramming down the door, and they're like, get on your knees. And he's like, okay, I'm on my knees. And well, can you put your weapons down? And they were like, just get on the ground. He's like, okay, like point taken, I'm on the ground. I'm because it was reported, and one of his roommates did have a shotgun.
Mm.
So they were trying to control the situation, obviously, because they don't, know. All they know is that there's a weapon inside a drug dealer's house. So they're raiding,
All right,
which,
so her boyfriend was in the house at the time,
oh, he was in there.
and because one, let's see, it said the sergeant was shot in the leg during the raid by the boyfriend, and so in
Oh,
that, Brianna got caught in the crossfire.
see,
The detective, that was there, he got terminated, and they terminated him based off the fact that he shot through one of the windows when the blinds were still drawn, and that was against their department's policy of them having a clear line of sight before firing, which makes sense. Obviously, you can't just start shooting into a building if you don't know who's in there.
See, this shows my ignorance because
Same as well.
I'm completely ignorant on this situation. Apparently, I thought I was pretty well educated. I had no idea that there was a police officer actually
So they
injured.
did, they did their no knock warrant, and the detective fired into the glass sliding patio door, and both of those were covered with blinds, so he didn't have any idea. So they did the no knock warrant, and busted in there, and the sergeant was, he was shot, and he got shot in the leg during the raid. Sergeant Mattingly was shot once in the leg by Miss Taylor's boyfriend as the sergeant entered the apartment. He later said in a statement to investigators that he fired off at least 6 rounds in response.
Yeah, and Louisville, this happened in Louisville, right?
Yeah, Louisville.
Yeah, they've already banned no-knock warrants.
They did after that banned no-knock warrants.
Which is good. That's
Louisville officials agreed to pay $12 million to her family to settle the wrongful death lawsuit. So here's the whole thing. And again, this is reported by the New York Times. So shortly after, this is a story for those of you that don't know, and to update Alex and I as well on this. So shortly after midnight on March 13th, Louisville police officers executed a search warrant using a battering ram to enter her apartment. The police have been investigating 2 men who they believe were selling drugs out of a house that was far from Miss Taylor's home. But a judge had also signed a warrant allowing the police to search her residence because the police said they believed that one of the men had used her apartment to receive packages. Miss Taylor had been dating that man on and off for several years, but had recently severed ties with him, according to the family's lawyer. Miss Taylor and her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, had been in bed, but got up when they heard the loud bang at the door. Mr. Walker said that he and Miss Taylor both called out, asking who was at the door. Mr. Walker later told police he feared it was Miss Taylor's ex-boyfriend trying to break in. After the police broke the door off the hinges, Mr. Walker fired his gun once, striking Sergeant Mattingly in the thigh. The police responded by firing several shots, and they hit Breonna Taylor 5 times. Out of the 3 officers on the scene, the detective, who has since been fired, shot 10 rounds blindly into the apartment. Mr. Walker, the boyfriend, told investigators that Breonna Taylor coughed and struggled to breathe for at least 5 minutes after she was shot. An ambulance on standby outside the apartment had been told to leave about an hour before the raid, counter to standard practice. As officers called an ambulance back to the scene and struggled to render aid to their colleague, Miss Taylor was not given any medical attention. It was not until 12:47 a.m., about 5 minutes after the shooting, that emergency personnel realized she was seriously wounded after her boyfriend called 911. His recording on 911 said, "I don't know what's happening. Someone kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend." Miss Taylor received no medical attention for more than 20 minutes after she was struck. The coroner told the Courier-Journal that Miss Taylor most likely died less than a minute after she was shot and could not have been saved. While the department had received court approval for a no-knock entry, the orders were changed before the raid to a knock and announce, meaning the police had to identify themselves.
Yeah.
The officers have said they did announce themselves, but Mr. Walker said he did not hear anything. No drugs were found in the apartment. Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend, whose alleged packages led the police to her door that night, was arrested August 27th in possession of drugs. He told the Courier-Journal of Louisville that Breonna Taylor had no involvement in the drug trade, and then said, "The police are trying to make it out to be my fault and turning the whole community out here, making it look like I brought this to Breonna's door." So, yeah, that's basically the gist of what happened.
Well, and this Poison just brought up a really good point in the fact that it all keeps changing when we don't actually know what went down. At this point, I don't even know what to believe.
Yeah. And in that, the one side saying they didn't hear the police announce themselves. The police on the other side are saying that they knocked and announced themselves. Okay, so look at this straight from the facts, right? You show up to somebody's house with a no-knock warrant that was changed to a knock and announce at midnight. Most people, if you're using common sense, are in bed asleep by then, right? So you can knock on the door all you want and announce this is the police or whatever you want to say, like Louisville PD. It's going to take a hot minute for somebody to wake up, gather their thoughts, and actually listen to, hear who's at their door, right? So without giving time for that to happen, the cops went from knock, 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 allegedly, knock, 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 Louisville PD to, all right, well, no one's home, I guess, or they're not responding. Boom, 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 with the battering ram, busting up in the house. And I'm not trying to say I'm justifying anybody's position, but if somebody was at my door in the middle of the night and just straight kicked that bitch in, and I had the ability, I had a sidearm or something to, defend my home and my loved ones with, I would do the same thing, honestly. Is somebody going to kick my door in and I didn't hear you announce who you were or anything like that? Like, the first thing out of my mouth is, after that door comes down, is, who's there? And if you don't say anything, shots might get fired. If I had the means, to protect myself like that. I'm not trying to justify that, he was right in doing that.
No.
And I'm not trying to say that, the cops were wrong in doing what they were doing. I'm just giving you straight up how I would react. I would react almost in the same way that he did. Whether you were an innocent party of criminal or otherwise, you still have, also innocent until proven guilty, but you still have a right to defend your home. And
Yeah.
If the cops are being so damn impatient that they knock knock, hey, Louisville PD, knock knock knock, Louisville PD, and then all of a sudden it's just crash, here comes the battering ram. What am I to think in the middle of the night?
Well, and why do you think they sent the paramedics home an hour before the raid? They clearly had an agenda.
Yeah,
there was an agenda.
They were like, they had, I think what, with that is they made their minds up before they got there. They were like, this dude's a criminal. We're going to get him. Damned whoever gets caught in the crossfire. And they looked at the paramedics and said, hey, peace out. People are probably going to die. No point in saving them.
Yeah.
Because, that you can kind of put the pieces together on that agenda because the detective, who was the lead on that, just straight up started shooting into the house with no line of sight. Or it wasn't even a house, into the apartment with no line of sight. So you don't know who you're hitting. And anyway, so out of all of that happened, the one officer that, the detective that got terminated, the sergeant that got hit in the leg is on administrative leave. So that leaves one person still on the force, I guess. They didn't say whether or not he's on or off, to be charged, and all you charge him with is accounts of wanton endangerment and basically just being negligent, and he pleads not guilty. So he's like, no, I'm not going to be guilty for that. So it is totally justifiable and understandable as to why the protest happened. I protest that shit for sure, because that an innocent bystander got caught, and died for no reason, basically. No reason at all. And because you as police officers didn't do the right thing and just made your mind up before you went.
Exactly.
And then tried to be judge, jury, and executioner. Which that wasn't their intent, I guess, but one guy got hit in the leg, so cops are gonna return fire, but at the same time, it's just frustrating, honestly.
And Spaceman commented and said that's deep state, as my brother calls it. I wouldn't call that deep state. I think that's definitely a phase of a Marxist agenda, but I don't think the police were showing up. I would say that's more towards. Have you seen The Social Dilemma yet on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
You definitely need to watch The Social Dilemma.
All right.
The premise is it's all about the monetization of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like they are literally monetizing getting your attention. So
Oh,
how do
okay.
we best get your attention? So I can Google search why does racism happen in America, and you can research why, or Google search why does racism happen in America, and depending on what we've liked and subscribed to and what gets most of our attention, there's literally algorithms
Right.
that on like Instagram that will say how much time we've spent looking at what and what videos we've watched. And if I Google search why does racism exist in America, and I've spent a ton of time looking at pro Donald Trump ads and conservative ads, it's going to say Black Lives Matter is ruining America. And if
Yeah.
you've liked a bunch of left wing or like crazy like Antifa stuff or whatever, it's going to say because the police are shooting people in America,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I'm just, making shit up
Yeah,
at
yeah,
this
yeah.
point in time. We are literally in a time in America that we've never existed in, that or in not even in America, in
Just the
human
world.
civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the time of humanity, we've never lived where people have these preconceived notions going into situations trying to
Right.
predict how they're going to play out when we don't know.
Yeah, and you can look back like in history on things and see that before people went into things, they used to stop and try and figure out what was going on, and then you would approach the situation. You can just watch through history as it just went completely the opposite direction. And
Yeah,
people had made up their minds, and then they went into the situation, and then it was even harder to have them change their mind because they had these preconceived notions of what that situation already was.
exactly.
And that's the battle, I guess, that we're up against, is trying to. It's part of the reason we do this podcast, is
It's
so
a
that
big reason why I do
is
this podcast, at least,
so that
is
we can get out there and get it somehow, some way, get just truth and facts out.
well, and just get on the same page, because
Right.
I would argue that I would say 92%, maybe even 95% of humans want the same thing. And that goes back to what you said a long time ago about the 5% rule. There's always a 5% within any demographic that's going to, try
Screw
to
it up for
revolt
everyone.
or screw it up for everybody else. So, I like that rule. I've thought a lot about that rule. Actually, I didn't know about it until you mentioned it on this
Right,
podcast.
in which like that. Oh, I got that rule from just like, if oddly enough, I guess from like the Marine Corps. It's a saying that goes around the Marine Corps,
Yeah,
that there's always the 5% that screw it up for everyone. And
exactly.
even though it started, though my knowledge on that started from the Marine Corps, it still applies to, like we said, life just in
No,
general.
and I would say I actually like that statistic a lot. But anyway, going back to that, there's going to be a 5% rule, and we've talked about this in the past, like 100% issues. Like if we went out and said every child in America or every child in the world shouldn't go to bed hungry, you're going to have 95% of the people say
Yes.
I absolutely agree with that. And then you're going to have 5% say, well, only 5% or only American children shouldn't go to bed hungry, or only Indian,
Yeah, there's going to
whatever.
be
Like
one
there's
group of people that's like, screw the rest of these kids. Mainly just these ones I'm concerned about.
exactly. But if most sane people sat down and truly engaged in meaningful discussion together, I truly believe that most of us would come to a common ground and have we might disagree on this or that, or, here and there, but most of us would have very common beliefs and ideology.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have politics and you have monetization of attention going into social media, this is when you create this divisive environment that we're living in right now. It's insane to me.
Right.
I truly, that's a big part of why I wanted to do this podcast, was because I don't understand how we've gotten so divided.
It's
How
really hard for people like us that think very logically and and see things, I would say, less gray and more black and whitish. it's hard for people like us to look at things and go, why can't the rest of you see this? You know, when we can stand back and go, here's this fact and these facts, and here's, this and this side, and then we can make it, make the black and white gray ourselves. But we look at it and just straight up go like, it's so easy. Like, how do you guys not like what?
Well, the more that I think about it, and not to go off on a side note, but I was recently listening to a podcast that was saying like, oh, I only think there should only be like 250 people in America that should have an ability to vote because I don't know enough and I'm not educated enough and you're not educated enough.
It's not hard to get
And I'm like,
educated.
it's not hard.
We did it for you guys 3 episodes ago where we literally pulled up one candidate's thing and was like, here you go.
It's really not difficult, but a lot of people don't invest the time and the energy to really come up and formulate their own views and opinions.
Right.
And when I'm just going to get on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram,
CNN or Fox and just let them
and be fed this information. And by the way, this isn't the information. I'm not getting the same information that you're getting, or you're not getting the same information that I'm getting, because it's been monetized in a way that if I feed you X information or Y information, you're going to pay more attention to it. It's a dangerous situation.
No, it is for sure. And people are just gotten lazy nowadays.
It's a dangerous and crazy time. And if people don't or aren't willing enough to take the time to formulate their own views, thoughts, and opinions and do the research, that doesn't take that long.
No, it doesn't. But that's the thing. And like, people are too lazy nowadays to do it because they've been force-fed those things from the algorithm and stuff. So where it just makes it way easier and way more convenient to pull open your phone or the news or whatever and just have somebody feed it to you without any effort of your own effort put forth. When you can just sit there and go, oh, perfect, this kind of sounds like stuff that I already believe in and agree with, so I'm just going to let these people make all the decisions for me, and I will just blindly agree with them without fact-checking or doing anything for myself.
Exactly.
Because humanity's gotten lazy. It's just a thing of convenience now.
Yeah.
Edna says, it's not hard. I made it a point to get educated after the last election. I'm voting for the first time this year. Don't come for me. Because it's literally not hard. And I was, just lazy. See, like, there you go. There's a story for all of you other lazy people out there. Like, it's not hard. And I'm not gonna dog you for not voting before, Edna's. I'm just gonna say thank you for educating yourself and getting out and voting this year. Like, who cares what happened? Like, as long as you look at yourself, recognize your deficiencies or where you've messed up or whatever, and then actively try and correct that and make yourself better, then that's really all you can do. And that's not just a message for voting, that's a message for life. The more you know.
I had one of my best friends who's a big Republican guy, and I wouldn't even say a big Republican guy, just he's from Texas, very deep-seated in Republican roots. And 2016, I was telling him, like, man, I'm voting third party. Like, I don't trust any of these two candidates. And he not relentlessly, but as a good friend would, in common discussion, would say, like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And he texted me after the debate and said, we went back and forth a lot in 2016 over a third party vote. And this year I'm doing it.
Yeah.
This year I'm voting third party because I can't do it anymore.
Right,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the same for me. I didn't have anybody, I guess, to a little bit of you when we talked before we started this podcast, but that I didn't vote third party in 2016 because I was of that mindset that was like, it's a wasted vote. As much as I would like to vote for the third party because it was a better option, I didn't, because I was of the mindset, if I vote third party, it's a wasted vote and Hillary will be president. And I can't stand Hillary Clinton at all, so I'm not going to vote third party. I'm gonna vote. I basically voted to keep her out of office,
And that's the
and
same
that's the
exact
point we're at now.
narrative
Again,
that's being used by the Democrats now. It's the
it's
same story
the
all
same
over
thing.
again.
Like it's and both sides are playing it. Both sides are going. We can't have the other person in office, so vote for me, vote for me. And then after the debate, a lot of people were like, "No, this is horrible. What is Joe Jurgensen up to?" And thankfully, a lot of the millennials slash Zoomer generation that they're old enough to vote. Her team did amazing on Facebook by using like memes and things to reach a younger generation and get her platform out there. And then I saw quite a few people, at least on my timeline, resharing all of her you know platform campaign thing, like things she said in interviews, memes that people had made for her and stuff like that. So like she did not run a bad campaign at all. It was just unfortunate that the mainstream media did not cover her enough. And
Well, who's getting paid,
right,
Ben, in the mainstream
right,
media?
it's just
Fox News is getting paid by
by the
Republicans,
RNC.
and CNN is getting paid by the Democrats.
Yep.
And they're both going to tell you that if you vote
They
for
just
anybody
pretend like
else,
she
that
doesn't
it's a
exist.
wasted. Yeah, no, they do.
They
They
just like
absolutely.
people will be like, so how about so and so, and they're like, who?
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's a two-party system. I don't know who you're talking about. And you're like, whoa, 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 no, it's not. Like, there's plenty of other people. Like I said, there's 3 other people on the ballot in Missouri.
Yeah, and we're running a little bit short on time, and I don't want to keep rambling on.
Oh,
But
true.
I do want to tell you about a conversation I had with one of my. So he's a friend. He's quite a bit older than me. His kids are a senior in high school and a sophomore in high school. But I coached his senior in high school on my baseball team for a long time, and I keep up with a lot of those parents. This is probably the only one that I would consider a real friend.
Uh
He's actually the one that helped me out in my DUI case. Work pro bono for free.
Exposed.
Yeah, whatever. I made a bad choice.
People
Fell
make
asleep at a
mistakes, that's fine.
stoplight like 6 blocks away from my house. Whatever.
People
Not a
make
good
mistakes.
choice, but I did it. Never gonna do it again. Anyway, he needed a quote on some windows a while back, and well, no, just last week, not a while back. And he was like, I want you to quote this window, but I also want you to stay for dinner and have a couple drinks. Like I get along so well with his wife. He
Mhm.
works for the ACLU,
Okay.
which is very left leaning
Oh, yeah.
institution. And he had some very interesting stories about the whole James Gardner, James Spurlock case, the bar owner that
Mhm.
shot that black individual outside of his institution,
Right.
which is horrible. That guy ended up committing suicide.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't remember if it
Um,
was you that told me or maybe Abby told me. I don't remember.
it's 2 losses of life that shouldn't have
Should never
happened.
have happened.
Say what you want about the guy, say what you want about the protester, rioter, whatever. Like again, I never want people to. I don't want people to die before, in my opinion, the good Lord takes them home.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want that to happen under humanity's will. That said, we were sitting and having dinner after he actually bought some windows from me, and it's never like comfortable talking about politics really, especially
Yeah.
like I'm right leaning, he works for the ACLU, but like we're friends, and we were talking about it. And I told him, I was like, I'm voting third party this year. And he's like, man, you can't vote third party. Like it's such an important election. And as we got to talking, he was like, your generation is so much more educated on this than what I am, and the basis of my premise of the not argument discussion of why I'm voting third party is the only reason why people never vote third parties because everyone tells them that voting third party is a wasted vote.
Yeah, they've been telling them for years.
It's been the narrative for so long. And what is the reason behind that narrative? And that's because Fox News is in the pockets of the Republicans
Right.
and CNN is in the pockets of the Democrats. And where do most people get their news from? One of those two
One of those two
media
sources. It's
outlets.
like our parents'
So it would
generation and the one above them that are still voting. They just get all the information they can. They like their shit comes from those news sources, so that's all they know. They don't know, that there's other options out there and that those options are more than likely better.
exactly. And so by the end of it, I'm not going to say he's voting third party, but
He's at least giving
he
some serious thought too.
much more understood my position as to why I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Right.
And we talked about the social dilemma in great detail. And his sophomore, again, you got to watch it, man.
I'll watch it.
Like
I'll watch it this
you
coming
got to
week.
watch it.
Or
Everybody
at some point the rest of the week.
that's watching this right now, you got to watch it because
Those
it
of you
really.
that'll catch this later on YouTube, watch it.
I already knew that it was happening. I just didn't I wasn't smart enough to understand the monetization or basically the system behind it.
Right.
And his sophomore daughter came out and was sitting with us for a while, and she actually I shouldn't say actually, very intelligent young girl. Sophomore in high school, very intelligent. And the more that we got to talking about it, she was really engaging in discussion. I was like, man, it makes me feel good to know that there are people coming up within the generation behind us that actually will understand this stuff.
Yeah, even that's probably 2 generations behind us, actually.
Yeah. Jeez,
Because,
I don't even
we're
want to think
old now.
about that. Yeah, I'm old. I'm older than shit. Anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But
It's the younger kids that are coming up now.
exactly. And if they keep feeding into the same narrative, the same it's wrapped in money.
Oh, yeah.
They don't care about who's right and who's wrong or who runs the country. It's who do you believe in and how can we make money based off of who you believe in? Because the more we can get you to believe in that person, the more money we will make out of you in our ads. And it's scary, dude.
What's crazy?
It's scary.
It is scary. And you know what's crazy about that is, how many movies were made back in the 80s and stuff, and even before then, and in the 90s and things, that the movies were based solely off of that premise, that the world moves more into corporations controlling everything, and there's no actual centralized leadership in any one spot. It's just corporations controlling everything, and then there's always the resistance group that tries to topple everything, and everybody roots for the resistance group. Yada yada yada. But what we forget is that we're moving in that direction now.
We're there.
We're there. That's the trend. It's happening. Like those movies, you watch them for entertainment value, but you don't really see that that's what's happening now as well. And
George Orwell wrote a book.
1984. I've mentioned it before.
We're
getting pretty damn close.
I mean, we're not all forced to turn on the TV at the same time and watch whatever news is fed to us.
But through habit,
people are
happening.
And even better, people are willingly. They believe that it's their free will to turn on the news at a certain
9 o'clock every night
and watch, whoever it is and feed them their news without doing any sort of fact checking or any sort of actual personal, I don't even want to call it investigation because it's not an investigation. It's just finding the facts. Mm-hmm. And you have the internet at your fingertips. It's not that
literally
hard.
all of the time. Literally all of the time.
It's not that hard to sit down and say, okay, well, this person said that, so I'm going to look and see if that's factual or if that's something I believe in.
Right.
Like, look at the Breonna Taylor case. I'm a victim. I didn't know that her boyfriend was in the house, in the apartment.
That somebody got shot in the leg. That he fired
and
shots.
A police officer was struck. And that completely. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong or anything in between.
It's just I didn't know.
An innocent person shouldn't have died. But Why isn't the media delivering us straight
Because
facts?
it doesn't fit the narrative that they
Because it's a
want.
divisive culture, and the further away that we can get divided, the easier it is for people to find a hill to die on.
And then
This is
now
my
you're gonna get
guy. This
you're
is
gonna get
my girl.
Spaceman talking about the deep state again because you're talking about the media dividing us as a nation.
Yeah,
Speaking of chat, and not throwing into
yeah.
tears, I have to share slash ask. My husband and his shitty family are crazy Trump train riders. He says his job depends on voting Republican because of oil and gas, and he won't vote any other way, and makes constant excuses about him being racist and a piece of shit and an overall idiot, and says he knows the guy is a dumbass, but his job matters. How is that valid? Like, how can you still defend that? And am I wrong for asking for a divorce? Who?
I know a lot more of that backstory, and no, you're not wrong for asking a divorce.
I would say solely off the fact that he keeps trying to make excuses and justify the fact that he's being racist and whatever other shitty things he's doing that he's trying to justify. Um, right now, the excuse that oil and gas and that is his job being important and why he's voting Republican. The way that our yes we're moving towards more electric based cars, but for the time being that industry is not going anywhere. So if you're doing it based
Well,
solely on job security like that, then I would say that like that's a very weak excuse.
well, and I would even simplify that a step further by saying manipulation is an extremely powerful tool. And we are being manipulated at a level right now that humanity has never seen. And
It's
it's
true.
it's based around the idea that people won't do their own research, that people won't take the time because we're all so busy. Everybody's busy. I get it. And I truly believe that's why, in the heart of a pandemic, our social climate is at a level that we've never seen it before,
Right.
because people really do have the time.
You have all the time
Me,
in the world now.
me being a prime example of, like, even if I wanted to go work right now, even if I'm not sick, I've had contact with someone
Who
who
is?
has this virus that's causing a global pandemic that I don't think is made up. I don't think it's a
No.
falsehood. But people do have the time right now. And that said, I hope and I truly pray that people are starting to see behind the veil of these manipulation tactics that the right uses, that the left uses, that the media uses, that Facebook uses, that Instagram uses, that Snapchat, that Twitter, Reddit's even caught into it now. And
Mm-hmm.
Reddit was like known as this host for purely unbiased information. And even that is tainted now
Yeah,
by
Reddit's kind of yeah.
ads and by monetization. It's crazy. It makes me genuinely nervous for Reagan, the 4-year-old girl that was just on this video. It makes me nervous for her generation,
Yeah.
because if they don't pull us out of this landslide that
Shit,
we're
not even
experiencing
they.
right
If
now,
we don't pull ourselves out of it,
yeah. The thing is people are a product right now.
mm-hmm.
We are a product of monetization. And that's a fact. Watch The Social Dilemma. If you want to argue with me, go ahead. I don't think it's going to go well for you. Or not even argue, if you want to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. We are a product. The human population is a product right now. And if we don't pull ourselves out of that product mentality, and we don't actually start engaging in civil discussion where you can believe one thing and I can believe another, and we can sit down and have a civilized conversation without me calling you a butthead or you calling me a jerk. I'm obviously using terms
PG
that
terms.
don't exactly. If that can't happen, we enter an extremely, extremely dangerous environment that will ultimately result in civil war.
Yeah, it will lead to
It
destruction.
just will.
It will lead to destruction.
If we keep sliding down this hill, we will end up in a civil war.
Right, and my glimmering hope is that
that's my true.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. I do the same thing. My glimmering hope in that is that I see enough people, or not enough, but I do see people that are our age, and those younger than us that say that do say we can have differing opinions and we can talk about them civilly and we can still be friends afterwards. I see people that say that, and what we need is more of those people. The people that are really like pushing that whole like path to destruction are, in all honesty, they're the older people, because they're so set in their ways. And yes, there's a few people like of our age and some of them younger than us, that fall into that as well. But that's just because that's what they've been taught by whoever their parents are or whatever. It's like, you will believe this way. Screw everybody else who disagrees with you, type thing. There's still small pockets of that, but for the most part, I think this is my belief, and y'all are more than welcome to disagree with me. But it's my belief that the people of our generation, those coming up, like you said, are more educated and are also more open-minded and willing to talk things out in a more civil way, rather than getting butthurt and calling each other jerks and buttheads all the time. So there's that like little glimmer of hope, I guess, that I see, and we just need to like foster that instead of what we're being fed through mainstream media and what everything else that's using humanity as a commodity. So that's my take in it.
Well, we're at an hour 30. Maybe we should turn it over to the chat for whatever Q&A they have.
Yeah, you guys, whatever you got for us. I know we're going to try to wrap it up real fast because the vice presidential debate starts in 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Once again, I would just love to thank our chat, man. That's not even like a...
Hey, that's not just like
I want you to
like lip service.
Invite more people, or I do want you to invite more people, but like I honestly, what fires me up about doing this podcast and what makes me most excited is talking to all of you guys, right, and the engagement that you guys have.
Yeah, we're not just blowing smoke up your butts right now.
No, I would love any fool would say like, I don't want to make money off. Like I don't. I'm not doing this to make money. You're not doing this to make money. I way to where we could just do this as our jobs, but I really do love every single one of you in this chat that shows up to hang out with us and engage in conversation, because it really means a lot to me. So that's all I'm gonna say.
We do really appreciate it. And for those of you that I know it's a kind of an unsaid rule on Twitch to not mention your viewer count, because those of you that are lurking kind of get weirded out when you get noticed, I guess. But for those in this case 6 of you that have stuck through the hour and a half that this has been of me and Alex sitting here talking, we appreciate you guys sticking around. It means
awesome,
man.
Man.
It means a lot that you guys are here and are willing to just, even if you're like not engaging in chat, you're just here to listen, and then you go from there, and maybe you go into other people. Those of you guys that engage in chat, that's just another level of support that you show us, and we really appreciate it, like honestly. So real fast, Spaceman had a couple of things for us. He said, I want to defend Ed Knott's previous statement on blaming Trump for corona deaths. In The Dark Knight, the Joker kept killing people until the day Batman revealed his identity. I don't know if that correlates. I could see it, I guess, but like I said, we're going to table that, and we'll get into it probably next week when we have Ed Nuts on. The second thing Spaceman said is that Spider-Man thing I asked earlier in chat, you can choose not to answer. Just generally want to hear your opinion. My opinion on the whole like live-action Spider-Verse thing would be cool if Jamie Foxx is coming back as Electro. That makes no sense because they blew up Electro in the second Andrew Garfield movie, so that would be weird. And
I hope Spider-Man is well. Thoughts and prayers.
Edna said thank everyone for their well wishes, Joe. We wish everybody well, obviously. No, we don't wish anybody any ill. Last thing I'll say before we get out of here, shameless plug for our YouTube channel. I did upload a new video on that earlier this week. The caveat of that is when we went to Padre, I did not download the actual episode 10. It expired on Twitch before I was able to download it, so I kind of just made the next one episode 10 and 11 because we covered basically the same things in both those episodes from what I remember. Also, there's a couple really funny jokes at about the 15-minute mark in there. They were hilarious.
I haven't even seen it,
Yeah.
so I don't even.
They were hilarious. You go back, you'll remember it as soon as you hear it. It was really funny joke.
Oh, is it the whole thank you for
Yes,
your
sir!
cervix? Yeah, that was funny.
That was hilarious. So
that was very funny.
Go check it out, if only for that one comedic bit, because it was hilarious.
That was
other
funny.
Than that,
Let's finish with this, since chat's been so involved. Again, I don't want to keep saying it, but thank you guys. I really do appreciate your appreciation. What was your favorite part of Padre?
my favorite part of Padre was honestly just like going and like chilling out on the beach, because it's been a while since I've been to the beach, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at how warm the Gulf of Mexico was. What was yours?
My favorite part of Padre was, I think it was it Friday or Saturday morning when you and I and Brendan were up super early. I could not sleep, and it was like 6:30, and I heard you and Brendan talking, and we were like, you know what, let's just go down to the hot tub. And then we went down to the hot tub, and the hot tub was closed, and so we just went to the beach anyway. And I was so hungover, like so insanely hungover, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this day. And we went down to the beach. We did some stretches. At least I did some stretches.
I don't know. I don't think that was me and Brendan.
It was you and Brendan.
I don't remember going down to the beach and stretching.
Well, I stretched, and then we just got into the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay. At like 7:30 a.m. And I don't know what it is about the ocean that just cleanses.
Yeah, was that the day like we all went down there early and then everybody else kind of came down and we
way
played
earlier
frisbee after that?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
We went down super early and we got in the ocean.
That was the day that Brendan and I we went for a walk on the beach that morning, came back. You were up, and then we went right back down. I think.
You were cutting out there for a second.
Stupid thing. No, I think that was the day that Brendan and I went down.
Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah, that was the day Brendan and I went down to the beach early. We got super weirded out because everybody was just staring at us.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I was like, "Bro, get your brethren down here, right? Check your mans."
You said to me, "Get your cousins in line," because all these people keep staring at us white people, and I'm like, what do you think I grew up with, man?
No, it was that, and then like the white people were staring at us too, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe we look like we're two gay bros, like walking on the beach, but like we weren't holding hands or anything. But like, what you looking at, man? Like, check yourself.
Hey, two white dudes walking down the beach. People are gonna be like, what are these white dudes doing?
There were some dudes that were like clearly gay walking down the beach, and I fucked them.
No, well, you know.
Maybe it was because we just looked like tourists, and it was the off season, and they're like, "Why are you here?"
Yeah,
This is-
that's
this is-
probably
this is-
exactly what
it's-
it was.
It's September. This is our beach now, and we were like,
But-
not anymore.
That was my favorite moment when we went down there, and I literally had the worst headache in
Dude,
my life
I'm
going
telling
down
you.
to that beach. And as soon as I got in that ocean and started swimming around, headache gone.
Whatever beach, wherever you are, if you go down to that early in the morning, it's just the best.
It'll cleanse you. It'll cleanse your mind, body, and soul, my friend.
Yes, sir. Anyways, that's it for this week, people.
That's it, and that's all.
Just, bring more people here if you can.
We need 50 followers to get to whatever subbies or
We
whatever
need
somebody
30
was talking
we
about.
need 30 more follows, people. So bring some more people here. Tell them about our podcast. Tell them about our YouTube channel.
We don't talk about Pizzagate all the time.
Yeah, it's not all the time. That was just what we really started with, okay?
That's what I was passionate about. That's what we were passionate about at that particular time. And
Right.
as I've said before, I've never had more faith in the feds than right now, because I really do think they're trying to crash that shit down.
Right. But other than that, have a good rest of your week.
When are we going to do this again?
We can aim. Well, that's all dependent on what Edna's schedule is, because she is.
Oh, yeah, she's the next
the
guest.
next
I'll
guest.
text her.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe Sunday.
Maybe Sunday. I'll send you guys a tweet. I'll put a tweet out.
Yeah.
But anyway, tell somebody you love them. Have a good rest of your week. Be nice to each other. Be kind to each other. Have civil discourse with each other. And we will catch you guys whenever the next one happens. Because we play this fast and loose, baby.
Fast and loose.
Alright, see you guys.
Love you guys.